This guy said, this man is running to be mayor of Minneapolis. Notice the only English in the vid to the Somalis in Minneapolis is rental assistance program. These people are only here to leech off of society. And I will offer one correction. He does say representative Minneapolis in English as well. But I was like, holy shit. That's kind of funny.
Assalamu alaikum. Magacayga waa Omar Fateh, State Senator, District 62, South Minneapolis. Haddii ay jiraan qof ama reer aad taqaanid oo ay dhibaato ka hayso bixinta kirada guriga, waxaan idin ogeysiinayaa barnaamij cusub oo la yiraahdo Rental Assistance Program. Minnesota legislator waxay ku dadaaleen inaan ku guuleysano inaan u soo saaro sharci cusub oo ka hortagaya in si sharaf dhac ama ka hor imanaysa xuquuqda dadka danyarta ah ama awoodi karin kirada guryaha inay iska bixiyaan.
I feel like if you're going to run for an office in the United States, you should be speaking English. Because he's very clearly speaking to only one part of the constituency. And it shouldn't matter what your race is if you're running for an American office. You should be speaking English so you can speak to the entire constituency. So we know exactly what he's pandering to here. We know exactly what's happening. That's the guy who, you know, looked at in the meme and was like, look at me. I'm the captain now. I guess he's come very far. I guess he's no longer captain of the boat. He's running for mayor of Minneapolis. And then Lauren Boebert. That name is familiar, but I can't remember exactly why. I'm bad at fucking names, man. Lauren Boebert called Lauren Boebert a white supremacist because she's against free college for illegals. Lauren Boebert said, illegal aliens will now be eligible for free college tuition in the state of Minnesota. Democratic State Senate Higher Education Chair Omar Fateh said, we've been blah, 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 it's cut off. And then Omar Fateh, the guy in this video, responded and said, you're damn right, and not illegal aliens, but our neighbors. When you're not a white supremacist, you can see people for the humanity and not their status. It is our duty to serve the needs of all Minnesotans. And this is kind of like the game they play, right? This guy is a malicious liar trying to purposefully obscure the difference between illegal aliens and people who come here legally, because he knows that all the little goody foot soldiers will come after people talking about illegal immigration and start conflating it with legal immigrants as well. And we've seen that happen for fucking years. But as long as the people maliciously lying keep that in people's minds, it's going to perpetuate for fucking ever. And then the person here who posted everything continues on the same YouTube channel, Somali TV of Minnesota, which I didn't know was a thing. Watch this woman in a full burqa win a RAV4 in the Quran contest. Hey, when do these people assimilate? What the fuck is a Quran contest? What is going on in Minnesota? It's just like, I've made the joke multiple times about Minnesotans going and colonizing other states, but like, man, my jokes keep becoming reality.
عسى الله أن يكف بأس الذين كفروا والله أشد بأسا وأشد تنكيلا.
معلن أحمد حسن معلنك najaad u dhigayay sannado dhowra ayaa dhankiisa bogaadiyey najaad in sannadkii ugu horreeyey ee ka qayb gasho tartanka qaybta 30 juz ay kaalinta koowaad gashay.
I just got deployment flashbacks. Asmongold had a sensible take that all of this immigration shit will create a far more radical counter movement. He's correct. He's correct. When people realize they have nothing left to lose, it's going to get really violent really quick. And I would prefer things to correct themselves before we get to that boiling point, because I do not like the thought of there having to be violence for any of this shit. I was just like, I'm gonna skip this video, I don't care. But then I saw Madam Savvy's tweet this morning when I woke up to pee, as is tradition. And she said, if this is considered hard to anyone above the age of 15, it's no wonder America is laughed at. I'll give the guy the benefit of the doubt that he's just being a goob for the camera, but surely most people know these words, right? Language is dying and it's by the government's design. And I was like, oh boy. Well, now I have to watch it, all right? Now I have to see what's in the video.
The English exam that everybody here studies for, and it turns out it's so much worse than I thought. This is the grade 1 vocabulary test, and let's just look at these questions. Although Caleb was excited to receive his promotion, he felt it either twinge, sprig, mandate, or bash.
Twinge. Why would it be any of the other words? It'd be twinge. I use that in everyday language. I say twinge all the time. And I also say mandate and bastion. Don't really say sprig too much, though.
Of sadness. The only word I know here is mandate.
That has to be for the content, right? There's no way he's actually that dumb, right?
The coach made sure to blank the strengths of each player. She wanted to build their confidence before the next game. So
extol. She wanted to extol the strengths of each player. I also use issue I use issue all the time on stream. I love the word issue. We're going to issue the cashews, as it were. I also say abhorrent all the time. I don't think I've used forestall in a very long time, though. That's a little outdated.
The options are extol for stall, eschew, and abhor.
When you said forestall, it almost sounded like you said my last name.
I've never heard any of these words in my life.
How is that possible? He's got to be doing this for the content, right? There's no way. There's no fucking, like, if you're here watching a brain-damaged cartoon Fox and I say these words, there's no fucking way, right?
The new theme park has been a real blink to the area, bringing in millions of tourists every year.
Boon! It's boon! There's literally no other way the other words would even make sense. But also, those are very common words, especially dent and tremor. What the fuck?
It's either boon, prose, tremor, or dent.
I mean, he can pronounce all of them correctly, right? So he has to be putting on a fake show for the camera.
Am I stupid? People here really take this test seriously, like they pay big money for private tutors. And
they're also learning English as a second language, and some of those words, I would imagine, would be difficult for someone who is possibly ESL.
When you take English classes in Japan, they prep kids to pass this exam instead of just teaching them English. But let me know.
That is teaching them English. What does he mean by this?
Know if you knew any of these answers, because apparently I don't know English.
No, you do not. That is correct. In all fairness, those words are somewhat uncommon. I think it's funny because I use like words like that, and occasionally people will be in chat like, oh, Kirsche uses gold star language. It's like, no, that's just normal parlance, man. You should always speak up when you are treated unfairly. I agree with them that it didn't have like the best outcome, but at least something changed. Strawb said, I'm happy to share an update after my conversation with Makeship. They've apologized for the stress caused and acknowledged that their reasoning for not continuing our partnership was flawed. They've since made positive changes, stating, we have adjusted our partnership evaluation process moving forward, and we specifically aim to base our decisions on the content of the creator alone, not necessarily on those they associate with. This is a significant step forward and a win for creators, ensuring fairer evaluations based solely on your own work. Which is great. I don't know how much I trust them, but still, this wouldn't have happened if she didn't bring her grievances to the public sphere. When you're treated unfairly, and when a company does something unfair to you, which again, Makeship's own email to her stated they were dropping her for associations with Rev, it makes the most sense to speak out about it, to say something. In the VTuber sphere specifically, there is this giant air of, if you're treated poorly, just shut up and take it. Don't change the status quo. Don't speak out about it, because if you do, you're the one causing problems. You're the one causing drama. And it causes a lot of people to not speak out about really poor treatment that they receive, either from other people, from companies, from VTuber corporations. A lot of people just won't speak out about it because they don't want to be harassed and seen as starting drama. But if you don't bring these grievances to air, you will never make changes. So even if Makeship is just covering their ass and they're just giving placations because they got a ton of pushback, at least they've now said something that if they renege on, it can be thrown back at them. And it would be nice if other companies who had made hasty decisions under false pretenses would also do something like Makeship did. However, Strawb continues, I'm deeply disappointed to learn that Makeship has not changed their decision on working with Rev. Rev collaborated with Makeship on 3 highly successful campaigns that brought new customers and value to their platform, and made many fans happy with cute plushies, with no change at all in his content sense. And I think that while I've had a bit of success here, and I think some people have seen the way that I stood up to Vice, and I would never have been able to do that without the immense amount of support that I had And especially feeling like when larger creators came out and started defending me, it made me feel more confident in my position as well. So I feel like a lot of people have gotten inspiration from that, but that doesn't mean that our enemies are ineffectual or they are just going to sit back and let us reap any kind of wins. I feel like there's going to be some sort of massive push to try and get rid of any kind of edgy or political content creator adjacent types. There's going to be some sort of like attempt at a purge, and I would like to see that not happen. I would be very sad to see that happen to other people. This isn't a war won, just a battle. Yeah, absolutely. You can't assume these people aren't going to continue trying to cancel culture, and it's going to come for those that champion it as well. And I would not feel any kind of like reason to stand up for people who championed cancel culture when it comes to eat them. Because you are going to live by the sword, die by the sword, and the Ouroboros will come for you eventually. It's just not your turn yet. A VTuber apocalypse. I don't even think it's going to be in VTubing. I think it's just going to be in content creation in general. I've heard Makeship recently welcomed a new CEO, and while I don't want to assume, I wonder if this shift played a role in their decision. Ultimately, I've chosen not to continue working with Makeship, even though they've welcomed me to do so, because I don't believe their stance on Rev is a fair or consistent. And I agree with her. And this is again, like both of them, when I went to Offkai, or I was going to go to Offkai rather, and then Lysander told me, oh, well, you make some of our volunteers feel unsafe, so we can't have you here on panels. And I was like, I'm not going to be there in person, I'm going to be on a screen. What do you mean I make them feel unsafe? And he gave me a smattering of tweets that were very obvious jokes and not even like giga political. And I was like, this is kind of ridiculous, my guy. Rev and Strawb pulled out of Offkai for me. They were like, this is unfair treatment and we don't want to support a convention that does this kind of thing. So obviously, in turn, I am going to offer support to them when they do things. And if I had been working with Makeship, I would have pulled from working with them. I would probably reach out to you twos at that point. But thankfully, I don't have to do that because I've never worked with Makeship. Rev and Strawb are good people. Yeah. You literally just searched pronoun on your Twitter and screenshotted it indiscriminately. I mean, and then I found out in the moment, but I had to give you a just trust me, bro, until their former staff members started freaking out on Twitter. Where it was like, it wasn't the volunteers, it was the actual staff who put together the convention. And boy, they have not gotten any better. Holy shit, there are things I wish I could say. When one door closes, I trust God will open many more. I'm grateful for the past collaborations and Makeship's professionalism in our talks. I wish everyone at Makeship and all creators the very best moving forward. God bless. And I think Rev had a reply here somewhere. Yeah, here it is. He said, this is why you bring these things to public light. Not only did they fix the mistake regarding you, but now there's a standard in place at Makeship that ensures its creators will not be punished for those they associate with. As always, on to the next thing for us. And I mean, I'm glad that they're taking, I guess, a professional stance against it. I would be slightly more upset, to be fair. Collective punishment is against the Geneva checklist, just saying. True and real. True and real. I would fucking fire and brimstone any company that like quit working with someone because they had like an association with me. Like I would go fucking nuclear. Holy shit. I saw this, and there was another tweet with like a side-by-side of their images, like, you know, decrying the Anny Padden lady because she dismissed the charges against this fucking 7 Days to Die zombie NBC. Like, I don't know how you can look at this man and not just see a crack addict. What even is that? And so I saw this today. Democrat DA Anny Padden of Colorado is set to be recalled for her decision to dismiss all charges against Solomon Calligan, who attempted to abduct an 11-year-old child from Black Forest Hills Elementary in Aurora. And I originally wasn't going to show the tweet because I didn't think I needed to if I looked up the article, right? Because when I see this, I'm like, well, they didn't put a source here, so I need to go find it. And so I typed this into Google. I typed Anny Padden set to be recalled, and I brought up the article, and then I got flashbanged with Colorado Dem DA will be recalled for moving to dismiss charges against trans sex offender accused of trying to kidnap boy. Why have they not mentioned that this weird zombie skeleton crack addict man in either this or the other tweet also apparently had been claiming to be trans? What the fuck? Where did that come from? Where did this come from? Is this another sex offender? Like, no, it's the same one. When did he decide to, did he just get arrested and he was like, yeah, I'm trans, because he knows that's like a get out of jail free card? Like, what is this? He's trying to apply the buffs. Holy shit. A Democratic prosecutor in Colorado will be recalled for moving to dismiss charges against a transgender sex offender accused of trying to kidnap a boy from a schoolyard, a local poll told the Post on Monday. In what fucking, like, this man is so ashy, he could be a cultist from a video game, brother. Like, that's not trans what? Holy shit. The district attorney's office in Colorado's 18th Judicial District told Fox 31 that it's planning to drop the raps against Solomon Calligan, 33, after he allegedly attempted to snatch the 11-year-old during recess at Black Forest Hills Elementary School in Aurora on April 2024. Calligan underwent a competency evaluation after his arrest and was found mentally incompetent, the DA's office said. You know, there was a tweet that responded to the original tweet that said that, like, if somebody commits a heinous crime like trying to kidnap a child or like raping someone or, you know, like murdering someone, that being found mentally incompetent is more of a reason to practice just murdering them legally by the state rather than saying, okay, you're free to go, sir. You couldn't understand what you did. Because if they're not capable of understanding what they did and how it was wrong and how regular humans in society don't do that, then there's no way to rehabilitate them. They would not be able to thrive in prison and become reformed. So what do you do with someone who's unable to become reformed? And I was like, that's interesting. And that person is probably going to get completely denigrated for saying such a thing. Prosecutors said they're now planning to drop charges against the defendant, which is required by law when they are found mentally incompetent to stand trial. I think when a law goes against public interest or is harmful to the people it is supposed to protect, then it is a not only moral duty to go against that law, but it is the righteous thing to do. Aurora City Councilwoman Danielle Junsky disputed that stance and told the Post an effort to recall Democratic DA Anny Padden is well underway and will begin this week, and ensured it will be successful. The conduct of the 18th DA over the past 6 months is beyond deplorable. This is simply the icing on the cake, said Jurinsky, a Republican. The progressive attitude will not be tolerated, she said. While certain state laws highlight deeper issues in the state of Colorado, Anny Padden will be recalled for her part in not upholding the laws and punishing criminals. The suspected sex fiend's older sister, Sarah Calligan, weird, even told 9 News in April 24 that her brother has been in and out of jail for 12 years, and that it's not safe for community or himself to be out on the streets. They just like New York for real, for real? Holy shit. She said her sibling, who was diagnosed with schizophrenia and bipolar disorder when he was 16, was deemed unfit to stand trial in previous instances and wasn't institutionalized because of a shortage of beds in mental health centers. Once again, closing the institutions was an incredible mistake. It just really sucks that he had to do something so eye-catching for everybody to see he's not well, and he's not okay to be out and be on his own. I don't think that's the reason he did it. I don't think the reason he tried to kidnap a child was some 4D chess, I have to do something crazy to be put in the public eye so I can be institutionalized. I have a feeling that's not what happened. Amanda Morris, Solomon's niece, added, this has been like the 4th time that we're sitting here thinking, how the hell did he get released? Who's letting him out? I like how even the family is just like, what the fuck is going on? Lock him up, please. This is like the first time I've seen the family be like, no, he needs to be locked away. He's a danger to society. He, in fact, did do something. Solomon Calligan shared the news of his gender transition in a 2011 Facebook post and later identified as a woman. That same year, he was placed on the sex offender registry where after he was convicted of non-consensual Wait, of non-consent sexual contact. I find it really funny that the New York Post decided to be like, yeah, this mentally incompetent man decided to announce news of his gender transition in 2011. Shortly after, he was placed on the sex offender registry. And also, what is non-consent sexual contact? Like, is that just like groping, or did he rape someone? Like, what exactly does that mean?
We just don't know.
I'm starting my hormone shots, and I really can't wait. I'm on my hormone pills. I've been on them for almost 4 months. I wake up all depressed and crying, but in the end, it's gonna be totally worth it, you know? What I mean? I'm really excited. My measurements are already changing, and I'm super thrilled, he wrote at the time. Damn. Estrogen's a hell of a drug if it makes you look like that. During his latest alleged crime, Calligan was captured on surveillance video approaching students playing in a field just moments before they scattered and screamed, "Stranger danger!" Imagine looking so threatening that when you come up on a field of children, they start screaming stranger danger. That's so fucking abnormal. Holy shit. Oh my god, that's like the kind of deep cut that stays with you forever. Like, imagine he wasn't some fucking creep who was going to abduct a child and he was just walking by. Like, that's like grounds for contemplating suicide right then and there. Like, holy fuck. That's why you don't get your hormones from your meth dealer. It probably didn't help that he was saying brains. True. You know, that might make it a little creepier. Calligan allegedly grabbed one of the youngsters but lost his grip when he tripped on a white blanket he was carrying. Why was it white? According to a police report. The young child later told cops that Calligan had white powder smeared on his face and reeked of alcohol. Calligan fled the scene but was located by cops at a nearby Walgreens. The DA's office told the Post in a statement, "We have not yet filed the formal motion to dismiss. We have until the end of the month to do so. The defendant is being civilly committed into mental health treatment." Oh, thank fuck. At least he's not being put back out on the street. God damn. However, we are legally prohibited from discussing the details surrounding his competency beyond saying that he's been found mentally incompetent to proceed. When a defendant is found incompetent to proceed, we are legally obligated to dismiss charges. Our hands are tied based on the findings of competency. However, they are not being released to the public. That law needs changed, man. That law 10,000% needs changed. That is crazy. James O'Keefe said Johnson & Johnson lead scientist confesses that the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine was not safe and effective, reveals lack of research from rushing to release the vaccine. People wanted it, so we gave it to them.
Any idea the lack of research that was done on those products?
Joe Biden says that it's safe and effective, but like he didn't know.
There's no proof. I mean, none of that stuff was safe and effective. People wanted it. Who gave it to them? It's like, all right, you know what? Cancer patient's going to die anyway. I'm sure somebody's going to get sued for that stuff eventually.
Have you or someone you love been diagnosed with mesothelioma?
Hi, Josh. Are you Josh Rice from Johnson & Johnson? You're going to deny your identity?
Yes, sir.
And you said that your vaccine was not safe and effective. You said that. Deep inside...
That fucking look at the camera! Holy shit!
Johnson & Johnson's global machine is a scientist, a lead scientist, whose very approval or disapproval of J&J products can change millions of American lives. Meet Joshua Rees, a lead regulatory scientist at Johnson & Johnson. Joshua, in his role, leads the creation and execution of regulatory strategies for new and existing products across Johnson & Johnson.
We run the whole soup to nuts. Like, not only are we working on the products, but like everything that has to do with the drug. We have to make sure you understand how to use the drug, how to be able to, prescribe certain pieces of information, how to communicate that to the patient.
Now, according to a Johnson & Johnson press release from December 2021, the safety and well-being of those who use the Johnson & Johnson vaccine continues to be our #1 priority. Now, for the first time ever, an official from Johnson & Johnson admits to our hidden cameras that the Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine was, quote, not safe and effective, unquote. And the company wanted to, quote, Just throw the
It's always the soup,
creation
man.
to the wind.
We can't
and see
escape
what
the
happens,
soup.
Unquote.
You know, they're like, oh, Joe Biden says that it's safe and effective. But, like, he didn't know.
There's no proof. I mean, none of that stuff was safe and effective. We didn't do the typical test. Like, the typical process, that's why it takes so long to get a product on market. The typical process is all this clinical trial testing and stuff in a small population. This was just, let's test it on some, lab models, analyze and see if it works and stuff like that, and just throw it to the wind and see what happens.
But people didn't know that. Like, the patients.
That's what I'm saying.
She has a very disarming voice. A very, very disarming voice. That's, you can't believe that about the J&J. You got it and you're in the hospital. Or you can believe that about the J&J. You got it and you're in the hospital in less than 30 days after getting the shot with double pneumonia, bacterial infection. COVID was throwing up blood. The first 48 hours, you're given 50-50 chance of living. While you're still here, you have major issues. Jesus Christ. I really hate remembering the COVID times because, I was not making much money at all. But I still felt like I was in a privileged position in comparison to most people because I wasn't under threat of losing my job if I didn't get the COVID vaccine. And because of how hard the government was pushing it, because of how many threats were being made to people if they don't get it, because of all the weird celebrities trying to make songs and encourage people to get it, I just got a really bad fucking feeling. And I was like, I just don't want to take this. I don't believe they're injecting nanobots or 5G electric currents in our bodies or any of that weird nonsense. The more the government demands I do something, the less I trust how safe and effective what the government wants is. And so I feel bad that there were a lot of people that were essentially forced into getting this vaccine that they might not have wanted in order to keep a job or to keep providing for their families. And it's easy for people like Tim Pool to be like, well, just stand on principle and refuse to get it and find another job elsewhere. But it's not that easy for a lot of people, especially if they're people who aren't doing something like Tim Pool and I do. And so I think it's very unfair to kind of take that stance of well, you took it, I don't think it's a you reap what you sow kind of thing in that kind of regard. And it makes me feel bad that some people have that opinion. It's just I also feel bad that there was a lot of people demonized for questioning the vaccine and how much anti-vax nonsense was going on. It's no, dude, I'm not anti-vax, just literally anti the COVID one. It's if other people want to take it, yeah, you're an adult, you can make your own decisions. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not a doctor, I'm a cartoon fox, but I didn't feel comfortable taking it. Trust the science.
I'm sure somebody's going to get sued for that stuff eventually.
The lead regulatory scientist for Johnson & Johnson went into detail about how the federal government applied heavy pressure on Big Pharma in order to hastily create the Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine, encouraging speed over efficacy or safety.
Do you have any idea the lack of research that was done on those products? You shouldn't be surprised that this happened. It was pretty much the government kind of made a deal with pharmaceutical companies and kind of pressured the pharmaceutical companies, because we're not going to say no to the help, the government. The government's yo, these three big ass companies, we need help. We need to figure this out. You're solving this problem.
That Operation Warp Speed.
I mean, we basically just had a race to figure out who could solve it best. People wanted it. Who gave it to them?
That's
the CDC
so
has previously announced they're pulling the J&J vaccine from use in the United States. J&J claims this is due to the vaccine's declining use and the company's strategic shift away from the vaccines. But as you just heard, J&J's own...
Remember, chat, any cute girl that shows any interest in you is actually just working for James O'Keefe. True! Always question your date. Are you actually an informant for James O'Keefe? See how she reacts. It's not about the words, it's about her facial expression. All right?
Regulatory scientist was well aware of the ineffectiveness of their own COVID vaccine.
There's something side effect that's going to happen. And it's more or less, all right, what's the worst side effect that's going to happen? And is that better than the benefit that the consumer is going to get? It's that's the interesting thing that I've found about it, because it's all right, you know what? Cancer patient's going to die anyway. So quality of life is the question in that instance, as opposed to whether you're curing something. You're not curing anything at that point. It's just, all right, are you going to have a nicer 6 months?
Now, I caught up with Joshua Rye in Toms River, New Jersey, on the Jersey Shore, to get clarification on what he meant by his comments on hidden camera. What led him to say this? What led him to tell a total stranger that his product was not safe and effective?
True.
Here's a little sneak peek of how this went. This is one of the most extraordinary interactions ever, maybe rivaling the one that I had with the other guy inside Pfizer.
What the heck?
Back 2.5 years ago. Are you Josh Rice from Johnson & Johnson? You're going to deny your identity?
Yes, sir.
And you said that your vaccine was not safe and effective. You said that. You know, where is he going? He's going to run away. He's going in the women's restroom. Are you confused? I am a human man. I am allowed to take a pee in the man's restroom. You shouldn't be surprised that this happened. We have no idea. People, I got it from your mouth.
No.
Stand behind what you said and explain to us what you meant by it. Undercover investigations like these carried out by our
He got
OMG
honey trapped by a
undercover
Jersey
journalists
Shore
are pulling
chick.
back the veil on the corruption and lies in our government, in our corporations, in the pharmaceutical industry. Remember,
You know, people will just do that. They'll just lie to you.
sometimes 60, 70,
I hate liars,
80%
man.
of revenue for cable news organizations and other organizations in the news business come from Big Pharma. The last time we did an undercover investigation into Big Pharma, like Pfizer, just a couple weeks later, I was indefinitely suspended from the organization I created. But we are going to report the news and tell the truth.
You just don't know what would motivate someone to talk about their job like that. People like feeling important and like they're part of something like secret or larger than the average person. So it's sort of like a brag almost. To be like, hey, check out this like insider information that I know about and so very few people know about, and if you talk about it publicly, unless you're someone like me, you're going to be derided and called a conspiracy theorist, you know? To quote The Big Short, they're not confessing, they're bragging. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Dudes love to brag to women. Women love to brag too.
Without fear and without favor. But we need you to reach out to our tip line at tips@o'keefemediagroup.com or send us a message on the signal. That's 914-491-9395. You could even connect with me on Minect, the app, and ask me, James O'Keefe, a direct question. I'll get back to you. One of our reporters will get back to you.
Would that be better than sending him a DM on Twitter?
Stay tuned.
Because I've tried reaching out about Bridge. It's wild to admit to a girl on a first date. You're not admitting to crimes against humanity until at least a year in, right, bro? For some people, it was a matter of law. You couldn't leave the country you lived in unless you took the vaccine. You also couldn't leave your house. You would be arrested if you did either without the vax. It was pretty fucking atrocious how bad the lockdowns were.